drizzling outside, so we are in the Renault Sport zc33s, but we will talk about something else, another sport, a French sport, Renault Sport, also called RS. And of course, some people will say it started with the Renault 5 and Clio Williams and Steven. Of course, it is Renault Sport heritage. Also Alpine has a lot of overlap there, and now you see that they also in Renault have Alpine as a sport division, which also meant the death of the Renault Sport moniker. That being said, you still have RS line, etc., but not real Renault Sport anymore. I really love this moniker because they make very nice handling and fast cars, so to say, for a reasonable price, and also in the hothatch segment. So you got me there, right? If you want to compare it, it depends on the iteration. You get now you got the Megane RS, which is a turbo plant. You also have the Clio RS, which is nowadays also a turbo plant in the latest iteration, but they both are not being made anymore. The 1.8, the latest Megane RS is now found in the Alpine A110, so to give you some reference there. And it started off with the first Clio RS, which was the Clio 2, which started as a 172, and in that same generation also the 182 came out. 172 has 172 horsepower, 182 and 182 horsepower. And I have a friend which had that car, the 182, based on the first generation RS Clio second. This is the second generation, but the first RS. Clio 2 RS, yes, 182. And after that we had the Clio 3 RS, 201 horsepower. Yes, so that's the third generation. And after that he had a Megane RS, and now he has another Megane RS. So it gives you an iteration, how you place that person, and that is as an RS fanatic lover. He also works in a Renault garage. And he said to me, although the Megane is so much faster, also if you want to shift to the turbo engine to begin with, a lot of torque, so a lot more power to begin with, than the battery aspirated Clios that he had. The Clios were so much more playful. And he said it would be best if you had the broad stance, the width of the car, Clio 3, with the weight of the Clio 2. So the engine is the Clio 2 and Clio 3 were both 2-liter naturally aspirated engines, and the torque was comparable, around 200 Nm in both, but one had 201 horsepower, the Clio 3, and one had 182 horsepower in the Clio 2, and before that 172 horsepower also in the Clio 2. So the difference is about 10%, but the weight difference is about 23%. So you can imagine that the power to weight is a lot better in the Clio 2, and also because of the less weight it is a lot more playful to begin with, but not as planted as the width that came with the Clio 3. Also with the Clio 3 they did some tricks to make the gear ratios of the lower gears a lot more aggressive, so you will fast exploit the power with those lower revs to keep up with the acceleration in the beginning. So the first gear, the Clio 3 RS is faster, but after that the power to weight of the Clio 2 takes over, so to say, to easily summarize it. But of course there is no such a car that has the weight of the Clio 2 and the width of the Clio 3 RS, unfortunately. And it would also be very nice if you would have the torque of the Megane RS. Yes, that would be great. Have the big turbo lamp, the 2-liter turbo iteration that my friend has. But there is something that comes very close, and that's the car that I'm driving now. This is Swift, Suzuki Swift, and this is a sport version. There's a 1.4 turbo engine, which comes out stage 1 tune, so turbo engine is very easy to tune because you can not only change the dynamics of the gasoline but also the dynamics in the air, because contrary to the naturally aspirated Clios, this has a forced induction made possible by a turbo. So if you increase the turbo spinning speed, you will increase the bar of the air that is within the engine. And if you then also alter the gasoline and the fuel, you can have a lot better results. So about 10% gains in a naturally aspirated engine. If you're lucky, this would be like 20% or more. So that being said, that would have in the state 170 horsepower, so a little bit in the direction of the 172, Clio 2 RS, 182. It must be said that those are French horses, so they are called, instead of horsepower, PS. So in reality, the 172 had like 169 horsepower, and the 182 like 178, 79 horsepower in reality. So it's not that far-fetched, and also this car is even lighter than the Clio 2 RS. And the Clio 2 RS was over 1000 kilograms, and this is under 1000 kilograms. This iteration 989 kilograms. And with 170 horsepower and 300 newton meters only from this ICE internal combustion engine, and then on top of that you also have a hybrid system that gives you another shot of torque. You can imagine that the torque per weight is even better than that of the Megane RS by far. So that's, the electro engine can produce like 50-60 newton meters of torque, so that's quite feasible at about 70-80 horsepower. Is also nice. 50 horsepower, sorry, 15 horsepower. So it would help, and with that being said, if you look at the total area under the curve of power and torque, they will not be worse than that of the Clio RS, even in the 180 horsepower guys. So to say. It also comes with a 6-speed gearbox, which is very nice. I think this was not standard in the 172 RS, perhaps the 182. And it is very planted because it's so wide, like a Clio 3, but it has the weight of a Clio 2, the less. And you can lower it because it has supple suspension to begin with, so a lot more supple than the Clio 3. Because yeah, with all the additional weight that you want to be sporty, then you need of course a lot of compensation for that weight, so stiffer springs, stiffer dampers to begin with. And you can lower this car, which makes it very, very good as a scalpel in corners, because it's so wide, it is so light, and it is so low. So the center of gravity is very low, also because the hybrid system, the batteries are in the floor, which makes it extremely low. And you get also a lot more luggage capacity, especially compared to the Clio 2. I think it's on par with Clio 3, especially if you also take into consideration when you fold out the jazz. The jazz are also a lot better. They are on par with Clio 3 RS jazz, which are very good. So there's a lot to like here, in my opinion. And it's Japanese, so with a Japanese car you get reliability. This car gave, for example, 6 years of warranty, whereas those Clios were sold with 2 years of warranty, so that's 1/3. That's quite an amount. So there's something to take into consideration. Also the luxury, and it was better with the Clio 3 RS, as my friend mentioned, that the dashboard was a lot nicer and a lot more luxury standard. This comes with an even more luxury and a lower weight, so that's extremely efficient package. And also the chassis is extremely stiff, because this is the hardtech platform, which is made with high-tech materials to keep it light, but without losing stiffness. So it's even a lot stiffer than the earlier Clio. So the earlier Swift Sports, which were already quite stiff as a chassis and were naturally aspirated. And then for the Sport they even reinforced it again by spot welding. Again, reinforce the stiffness of the chassis. So it's a very good chassis to begin with. If you want something bigger, more in the Megane RS or the bigger Clio RS, you could look at the Civic Type R and the generation, the FN generation, which are naturally aspirated, and after that you had also the generation that they have now and the generation before that, which are turbocharged. I think they even released an all-new Civic lately, and those cars are very, very fast, very, very capable, and still quite reliable being plus. So there are some things to take into consideration there, but the RS Monaco was a legendary Monaco. Really, really liked it. Brought very good performance to the masses, and of course it went in the wake of the Civic Type R, but it also improved some things. So for example, the best part, the best hot hatch of all, you only need to pick one, and especially in the time frame that they were being brought, I would go for the Clio 2 182 RS. That's a stellar car. If you change a little bit like stage 1 and modify it, this Sport will be showing very high values, but you can also change, of course, the 182 RS. But one particular version of the 182 RS being the Trophy. The Trophy had reservoirs, the two reservoirs, one for cope with comfort, still give you some comfort, and the other ones to cope with very aggressive steering. So you had both stiffness and suppleness in a frame with 182 horsepower, the lightest Clio RS frame there was. Very, very capable car, extremely capable. I think that around many a circuit it could even beat the Clio V6. The Clio V6 only had a two-seater and the engine in the mid, so not a hot hatch in the purest definition, because you're quite hampered in practicality. Also the trunk was occupied by the engine, etc. But also a very aggressive Clio, and that had well over 200 horsepower, 230 to 260 horsepower depending on the iteration. Also the Clio 2 generation, it was a nice phenomenon that they made that, but I can imagine that on many a track far lighter and more capable Clio 2 RS 182 Trophy will beat it. So that gives you quite a triumph of this little hot hatch, because the price was a completely different spectrum, of course, and also the engine capacity was a completely different spectrum, and still with the Clio RS you had a rear seat that you could use, so you could seat at least 4 people, perhaps in some iteration even 5, depending also on the size of the passengers, of course. So it's a very, very cool car. I will play some pictures in this video that gives you a detail of this size of the Clio 3 RS, because the width was so nice to begin with compared to the Swiss Sport, and then you can see for yourself. Wishing you a great day, safe travels. Also if it's raining and people are a little bit limited, and enjoy. Ciao!